the beginning of this year, there was a report in the weekend magazine of The Australian about a guy who had a very, very bright idea of refurbishing empty railway carriages that just sit there at night. And it was going to cost, from memory, about $30,000 to refurbish a railway carriage. The idea was that they were going to work in conjunction with the City Council. My concern as I walk through the city is those people who sit there, and I don't know that they're going to be safe overnight.
So that's an option. Is that being looked at as a live option?
Well, I think we know that we have in Victoria at least 23,000 people in some circumstance along those lines tonight. And I think we do need to continue to be creative and generous in the way that we come up with crisis safe havens for everybody who's
I hadn't heard of that particular plan. Is that something that's being considered actively?
Railway carriages, containers, office buildings, car parks. Many generous and thoughtful people in our community are trying to think about how to come up with these temporary arrangements. But I go back to the point I made before, is what happens in the morning, and also what happens as more and more people need that outcome. And so for every train carriage, which might have 10 people sleeping in it, we need those homes to follow. The other thing with the temporary arrangements is that you end up with a group of people with significant challenges in their lives in the same place, and it can create significant challenges. It's not camping and it's not a share house. It's people who are down on their luck and having a hard time, might be struggling with mental illness, might be struggling with addiction, definitely struggling with poverty, and often with a history of some trauma. It's not an ideal situation. It certainly, in some circumstances, will be safer than the streets. We've all spoken with people who've actually said that some of these temporary arrangements are actually more frightening than being on the street. Right. Particularly shonky rooming houses. Yep. So people choose not to stay there because they're, with a group of people and in a being ripped off sort of circumstance that is much scarier than actually being under the bright light on a shop front. Yeah.